very much, Michael, for that insightful and very exciting report on the industry. And as you can see, the Swiss Biotech Association is also starting to become quite innovative in the way they see their role to contribute. Now, we are running a little late, but I hope you're going to still thoroughly enjoy our third and final keynote speaker. We have here with us, we're very, very grateful that Bajoe Wibowo would come from Geneva, from WIPO, to address us this evening. I have had quite a long number of years that I've engaged with WIPO in different ways, and I've always been very, very impressed with a lot of the rigour of their programs. And in particular, this program is of relevance to everybody. It's a tolerably new program that WIPO are now operating. It's called WIPO Match. And Bajoe is the project manager for this. He works within the office of the Deputy Director General of WIPO. And this particular match platform program is designed to bring new business opportunities with integrating fairly sophisticated IP and innovation projects. So it's a private-public partnership model, the Triple P model. And in particular, it's for lower middle income countries, and obviously with countries like Switzerland, where they might wish to partner with other companies. So I think you'll find us, if we now have some technology that is actually kind to us, we may be almost ready to start.
And you get security.
Perhaps the technology is suggesting it once in Apero.
So, because I wanted to start with this slide, so okay, fine. Then maybe I can start already before. Thank you, Diana, for the introduction, and greetings to all of you, and thank you for Professor Florian for coming here for inaugurating this. And on behalf of the World Intellectual Property Organization, as one of the United Nations specialized organization on intellectual property, it is a great honor. And for those who are not very familiar with intellectual property, I guess is one of among the 16 specialized organizations of the United Nations dealing in particular with intellectual property. You are, of course, experts in the area of patent mainly, and also trademark, I guess. And I wanted to start with a quote from the late Steve Jobs, who said something very interesting about innovation. He said, innovation distinguish leader and followers. And he said, be the market leader, take risk, innovate, and excel. And this is basically a summary of what you have been saying during this presentation. I've been here in Switzerland for more than probably 25 years here, and I study also in Lausanne at the Swiss Federal Institute, one of the most prestigious schools, of course, in Switzerland. And being Indonesian, I feel very proud living in such a beautiful country. And when I joined the organization about 20 years ago, intellectual property was a bit a subject which was a little bit, what is this intellectual property? Nobody understood about that. But today, IP, we call IP, is central to the knowledge economy, and that for this reason now, we can see. You see, this is an example of Murphy's law. When something should work properly, then it doesn't work. But this is also the Murphy's law. Thank you for your help. And the purpose of this presentation is basically to sensitize you. It's not to sensitize you about innovation, because you are at the heart of innovation. But here is to sensitize partnership. Please? No, this one. Go ahead. No, this one. So, this one. think it doesn't want to work, I guess. It's okay, it doesn't work.
No, it's not okay.
Okay. So you can see, thank you very much. You can see here on the screen, this is very telling. Be the market leader, take risk, innovate and excel. This man has been the pioneer, one of the pioneers. And I wanted also to say two other quotes, very inspiring quote, which one is from the late Nelson Mandela, who said, "It always seems impossible until it is done." When I saw this presentation from Dr. Jeffrey about this country, I would not be able to tell exactly, but I feel I can put myself in the shoes of the parent who has this child suffering from this. And I have also to admit that without life science, without biotechnology, without pharmaceutical industry, our quality of life would not be that one that we have today. And we sometimes tend to take it for granted, but it is not granted automatically. And we thank you for that. But on the other hand, we also know that major innovation has been done through a lot of process and as I mentioned to you earlier, I think it's this one. I think it doesn't want to work, but it's okay. Okay, fine. So you have anyway the copies of my presentation, but some of the slides were not there, so I can talk this and then. So I was trying to say that major innovation revolutionized the world with the penicillin, with the oral pill, contraceptive pills, and also you mentioned in the beginning the CRISPR-Cas9, which also with this editing genetic facilities to edit the genes of plants or animals. Now there is another issue, is the ethical part of it, and we know the stories around that. But I'm trying now to focus my presentation more on the intellectual property. Do you know that CRISPR-Cas9 generated about $1.2 billion in 2017, and it expected to bring more than $5.3 billion business in terms of intellectual property assets. This is huge. And out of this, of course, clinical therapy, were put in place, and we have today, around the specific niche of CRISPR-Cas9, 482 patent application, and 1/3 belongs to MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. So you can see that but the biotechnology industry is a very special niche, and we need to understand why biotechnology is investing so much in relying so much on intellectual property right, because the first point that we need to know, it is a research industry base. So once you do research, and the second point is also, it costs a lot of money, and the second one is, of course, to develop new product, it costs a lot of money. And there is no guarantee if you invest a lot of money that you will get the return of your investment once you have the final product. And that is why, in a way, the IP system rewards the people, the innovators, who do something, to bring something new to improve the humanity and the situation of the world. And look, this is very impressive. I'm making a presentation.
You can put it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Oh, that's great. So thank you, sir. So, so before I come back to my first slide that I wanted to show you, so I wanted to say that the third important point on the biotechnology business is that usually the basic research are closely interlinked with the applied research, which is usually done by the private company, the spin-off, the startup, the spin-off companies. Because most of the time, the companies are created based on the result of the academic research. Then after that, we develop more. The example of CRISPR-Cas9 is a good example. So, and the fourth one is also interesting to know, is the fact that most of the biotechnological company do not sell necessary product, but they are developing it, they are protecting it, patenting it, and licensing to big company who have money. Then we can then after that, bring the product into the market. This is the main thing. So once again, biotechnology is a very specific niche, and of course Switzerland with all their skills, and you can see that Professor Michael mentioned to here in this presentation how the quality of the workforce is extremely high, and for this reason we can be basically, I feel also Swiss in a way. Switzerland is almost number one in most of the ranking in terms of excellence, in different areas. So what is intellectual property? As I was saying before, last week this video from a fake video about the CEO of Facebook became viral. I don't know whether you heard about that. Mark Zuckerberg said that was in the video, and he was saying, imagine that for a second a man with total control of the stolen data of billions of people, their secret, their life, their future. I owe it to all to Spectre. I guess it's a reference to James Bond, Spectre, the evil, the bad person from the James Bond movie. And Spectre, show me anyone who controls the data, controls the future. Why am I talking about the data? We talk about the data as well, but the data also is now one of the main challenges of this, of the intellectual property, how to protect it, how to generate, especially in new area of biotechnology, life science. And this is also show, the drift of innovation. Sometimes innovation is good, but look, if we take again the example of, I'm not trying to make any judgment, but if you look at the twins, which through CRISPR-Cas9, which were born like that, is it ethically good or not good? This we don't know, but I think everyone has their own sense of that. But what is interesting, last week on Friday, another news, this also from Facebook, was officially launched by Facebook. Facebook launched the first virtual cryptocurrency. Would you believe that? Based on the four existing, the four major currency: the dollar, the euro, the Japanese yen, and the pound sterling, which will enable just realize that to enable to the community of Facebook with 2 billion people, because Facebook has WhatsApp and Messenger among others, 2 billion people who will be able to buy product among their 27 partners, such as Booking.com, Uber, Free, Spotify, these big names that you already know. So, but the difference with the bank, they will not charge their services like the bank. When you use your credit card, then the bank will charge you 2% or 3%. But the smartest way of that they're trying to do, the strategy, the business model, is to sell your data, your information about your booking that you did to go to Rome last weekend with your family, to sell it to their partners. And like Uber will then propose you, data about the driver from Rome to the airport to the city, for example. That is also a bit scary in a way. It's then we have seen the reality, which has become really true. So, and this is what is also interesting in this, is that this is also related to innovation and intellectual property. But the development of innovation is so quick sometimes that we cannot follow, the rules. As you know, intellectual property is based on sovereign basis. So if we give a patent in the Swiss Patent Office, Swiss Intellectual Property Office grants a patent for this invention that you did, it doesn't mean that the Indonesian IP office or the US Patent Office will have to give that, but normally they will give it. But just also to understand that. So now we have come, even with the biotechnology, life science, we have come with some technologies which are going throughout, the borders. And one of the things that I just mentioned before, it is also interesting to know that it is expected that the global biotechnology market would amount about 2,000 billion euro by 2020. It's a huge amount. And even at the EPO last year, they granted around 100,000 patents, which is an enormous amount of this. And I mentioned to you earlier, some of the common features, not the common, but some of the element to understand the biotechnology industry. So now I would like also to come now to the data. I mentioned to you now that most of you are coming either from the academic area, from the private sector, but most of you are generating important data. And this data, you would, especially because you are more specialized in biotechnology, you would require a very important IP strategy and IP, especially in your business model, because we realize that why is it so important? Because today the data has become a big issue, and IBM, who has been the leader in the area, break what they call the big data into 4 major V. The first V is the volume. The scale of the data. About 6 billion people have smartphone, and every day, do you know that 2.3 trillion gigabytes of data are created, and it's so huge that we can't even figure out this number. And by the end of 2020, 46 trillion gigabytes of data would be generated. The second V for the big data is velocity. The analysis of the streaming data. If you take the example of the New York Stock Exchange, they are exchanging every day about 1 trillion gigabytes of finance data. And then the third one is, of course, the volume, the variety, which is of the data, Facebook, Google, Instagram, the data. It's about 30 billion data available today. And the fourth one is the veracity, which is how can I judge from the internet the information that I get is reliable. Only 1/3 of the people from company believe in that. So this is one of also the challenge of intellectual property, because everything is also related to that. So what I wanted to say here, that why at WIPO we have different platforms, so many platforms, but one of 3 platforms might be of interest to you. The first platform is called WIPO Research. WIPO Research is a platform which enables the partnership with the private sector and private entity also from developing world, countries in transition, to work on neglected tropical disease. So we can do some partnership. Here, the second one is WIPO Green, which are all the technology related to green technology. And the third one is WIPO Match. WIPO Match has been, has been put in place in 2016 upon request of the member states, and because as the needs of intellectual property have been increasing, so many projects from all parts of the world, not only in Europe or in the Western world, but also in developing world, countries in transition, WIPO, as the UN agency, could not anymore cope with increasing demand. So we need to find a way to give a platform to anyone who have a project from the private sector, from the public sector, from academia, who are looking for funding, for research, for South-South exchange, to join this platform on a voluntary basis. And WIPO would play a role of matchmaker, a facilitator. This, to make it very short, of course, I don't know, my time is very limited, and it's already 7:30, I know, and I apologize for that, because most of you must be also hungry, I guess. So I will, and what I wanted to say is that we have the, we have the opportunity through our agency also to connect to projects from in all parts of the world. Last year I addressed at MIT, and I was talking to the directress of research innovation from MIT. I was at Harvard University, and the director of MIT was telling me, Mr. Wibowo, you are telling us that we could post project in your platform for the benefit of developing world. How would it be relevant? Because the level of our technology is so high, how the developing world would absorb this, since they don't have the capacity necessary, the technical capacity to absorb that. I said, yes, madam, you're right. But you need to see that from a global perspective. I give you another example from the business perspective. WIPO Match is not a technical assistance or philanthropy platform. It's a business opportunity platform. So I told her, let's take the example of Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, we have one of the major issue is the heat stroke. People are dying of heat stroke. They cannot find solution, and most of the people there, what are they doing? Basically, they're dying, and it's difficult. And I told her, madam, Bangladesh probably is 140 million people. You are one of the most prestigious university in technology in the world, MIT. If you decide to invest, to develop certain product related to heat stroke, you would have a market, you would have business, and then, oh yes, then she started to think a different perspective. This is also the globalization. Globalization is not only one way, but it's both ways. But sometimes we tend, I'm from developing country, but sometimes we tend to see the developing world as people who do not have expertise or understanding. Globalization, now we don't need to come here. We can come to the internet, to YouTube, to find presentation of different people. And that is why here I would like to present to you this opportunity, because you may have also a lot of projects that need also international exposure. And this is also the perfect match for you to meet with a network in a simple manner without going to the complicated, cumbersome, political thing. You, as long as you come, as coming from an industrialized country, you can come with a kind of pro bono offer. I'll give you an example. One of the former director of innovation of Volkswagen has posted about 4 months ago a project on artificial intelligence. He was awarded himself in Europe last year as one of the most innovative inventions in this artificial intelligence. He is going to now to become the director of at Volkswagen in one of the artificial intelligence related to automotive. All his invention will be integrated into that. But he himself, as he feels that it is important also to return, also to help the world to be a better world, to reduce the digital divide, he said, let me propose my expertise and my skills. And he posted this project on a pro bono basis. Now we have some big countries which have expressed interest to work. Of course, we will find after that the fundings, but the first thing is to show, the first step, how we can do something. This, this disease that Terracon presented, it is not only in Switzerland, but it's in every part of the world. But maybe in the other part of the world, they will not have the money to do that, to pay this treatment. But how can we do that? So, and I wanted also to show you something. Oh yeah, okay. This is for the time being now. WIPO Match has 77 supporters. In reality, we are around 100. We are just waiting now from Harvard, MIT, Cambridge for the formal agreement to join and come with other projects. I think you see these are big names. I've been in Switzerland for, as I mentioned, quite some time. But now that I have the opportunity to meet you, I hope that the University of Basel and other the Biotech Swiss also might join and then see something beneficial. And I was telling some people that when I met, they said, really, two major partners joined WIPO Match last year. The United Nations, the office of which has officially requested WIPO to integrate WIPO Match into the Sustainable Development Goal, which is a tremendous, and most likely we are going to address at the United Nations in fall this year in New York about the development of this, because this is something concrete that we can realize with tangible results. Just imagine, Swiss, you are the chairman, the CEO of Swiss Biotechnology. You come with something, and then you show, to the world, okay, Switzerland is not only #1 in the statistic, but also #1 in helping, developing world countries in transition. That would have also another impact as well, because I feel that after being 20 years at WIPO, helping to make better development project, I feel this is something good and nice that could be beneficial to everyone. And at the end, we will leave a kind of, I would say, legacy. It's not only the number of money, million that I have in my bank account, but my legacy. To see someone smiling at you when you do something good. And the Islamic Bank joined also the WIPO Match platform, but maybe you are not familiar with what is Islamic Bank. The Islamic Bank is the gathering of 57 Islamic countries, and the market is 1.7 billion. They injected $500 million to spur innovation in their countries. And they even open, and this is also some opportunities for some of you who are interested, to join their transformer competition. And if you are, this invention is of interest to their strategy, then that could be brought into their market as well. So this is also some other element why WIPO Match is so global and interacting with everything. So, and I wanted also to say that companies today can buy data on real time or about any patent application, but without real insight, it's useless. Because you will not be able to understand. You said before, connecting the dot, and I would say, making the links is what WIPO Match hopes to do. And again, I would like to thank the pharmaceutical industry, the biotechnology for the tremendous progress that they made that have improved our life, quality of life and prolong our lifetime. But on the other hand, the developing world is the custodian of the precious biodiversity. So whenever we do something, it is important to strike a balance between the interests of the public sector and the private sector. And then to keep also in mind that as we have only one planet, this is our planet, it is also important not to forget the challenge of the climate change and the sustainable development goal. To do what? To do at the end, to do at the end the following, because if, look what is happening. This is today, 2017. If we keep continuing, not ignoring, the status of the world, not only, it might be completely a brownish, planet, and this is what we don't want. And I believe that if we are here, people with good willingness, you are intellectual, you are the executive of very, prestigious academia and private companies. I think it is our duty to contribute something also, not only to throw our cup of plastic pet to the things, but to come to another level as well. Because you are not the normal people. You are very important from your position that you have. And I would like to end my presentation by quoting President Macron, who said something very, very interesting, and he said, "Let's make our planet great again." So, thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Bajoe. Now, in the interest of time, I think we will just enable people to circulate around the apero and grab our speakers. But I'm going to put one caveat on that. You've got to be thoughtful. That means you can't start talking to them unless they've got a glass of something in their hand and they've got food on their plate. Because otherwise they will be the only three that will end up leaving here and they will have not sampled our excellent apero. So that's the caveat. You must take responsibility to look after them when you want to talk to them. So on that note, if everybody's very happy and satisfied, and thank our three superb speakers again for the diverse and very interesting insights, and we will continue our vibrant discussion over the apero. Thank you.
No, it's excellent, especially because you can't